5:45, we'll call the budget amendment hearing of the Murphysboro Unit District 186 to order. Terry, can you call the roll?
Mr. Wilson?
Here.
Mrs. Judy is absent tonight. Mrs. Brazel?
Here.
Mr. Green?
Here.
Mr. Brown?
Here.
Mrs. Evaldi?
Here.
Mr. Beavers?
Here. To approve agenda, anything changed with the agenda? Not, I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
And a second.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Number 4 is presentation of the amended budget, and I'll turn it over to the admin.
So there is not a whole lot in the big scope of things. A lot of changes, little line item changes here and there. But after the fact, when I was going through, I said, wow, I kind of wish I didn't do an amended budget because it really wasn't required. But with all the ESSER grant money, really being unsure of when we'd be spending that, and even in April, there were still some questions about when some of the funds were going to be spent, when they would be reimbursed. So that's what makes it a little harder. But that was the main reason I wanted to do a budget amendment, was all the federal ESSER grants that are coming through. So in the email, the little summary that I did, you can see that the biggest changes are going to be in the education fund, and we did some increases in local revenue to adjust for increased property taxes. Interest was a lot more, of course, than we anticipated it would be. And at the beginning of the year when we said that was kind of a guess at what those levels would be. So adjusting for that, some special ed funds, more than we anticipated. And then the biggest thing was I had included a lot more ESSER federal revenue for this year than we were actually going to get. So we'll see that next year. It's not that we're not going to get it. It'll just be a different funding year. And then same thing with expenses. That was the biggest effect on our expenses, were the ESSER dollars and when they were going to be spent. We did have a little increase with our parochial money that's allocated. So Emmanuel Lutheran and St. Andrews have a little bit more to spend than they did initially. And then on our payments to governmental units, our Tri-County expenses, I always kind of try to hit those a little bit high. And we lucked out this year that we didn't quite hit that big level. So
They had trouble staffing all year, so the
So they're-
paraprofessionals not being able to fill those, so it keeps,
you hate there to be a savings for that reason,
but they had trouble filling staff, all year, so.
and that's in spite of everything they did to attract staff that still cost money. Still, we had a savings there. So, not a lot in the ed fund. Like I said, even though that's our largest fund. And then the other funds are, same kind of things. Interest rates were bigger. Impact of ESSER funds and the O&M fund. Debt service, that was, purely interest income, and then trying to guess when our payments were going to start on the lease purchase we did last year. How many payments we were going to make during the fiscal year. That we did computers, the lease purchase, which we'll be finished in August with that. So again, not a lot of impact in that fund. Transportation is probably one of the quirky ones this year. We did have a decrease in our transportation claim funds. We get those funds prorated every year. It's basically everybody do their transportation claim, and now we've got this much money allocated for transportation, and so you get it's supposed to be 80%, and you get a proration of that. So again, that's a guess on my part what we're actually going to get once I put the claim in. And to offset that, we did increase, I moved some corporate personal property taxes that I had allocated in IMRF into transportation. So also added the ESSER 3 grant when our vehicles finally came in this year. So that was part of that. IMRF, we kind of already talked about the corporate personal property taxes. Our IMRF rate, contribution rate for employer, decreased on January 1st from 21.18% to 8.35%. It's because we've paid off our last IMRF ERI. We paid that off for all practical purposes by the end of 2022. I even called IMRF and I said, I think you made a mistake. That can't be our rate. I mean, I love it, but it can't be our. No, it's right. So.
And that's still, high rate, but it's that is considerably better.
Yes. Yeah. So we were pleased to see that. So that's something we didn't anticipate when we did our original budget. So that was really nice to see, to have those savings. Capital Projects Fund, my favorite thing on this is increase in our county facility sales tax, more than we anticipated. So I originally budgeted for 1.6 million, and we're, gonna get more than 1.8 million. So it's more than a $200,000 increase on that. So yeah, that's exactly right. So we also received a maintenance grant that we're gonna use to put the window coverings on that the board approved, and impact investor. So working cash, just interest. That's the only impact in that fund, and a little bit on the property taxes. Same thing for tort expenditures, or tort revenues, and work comp. I did increase that a little, or decrease that a little bit. The total expenses, increase in work comp offset by decrease in legal and unemployment. It's always nice when we have a year we don't have to utilize a lot of our legal expenses, or call Shane and Elizabeth as often. And then fire prevention and safety fund, that's strictly interest and property taxes. So nothing life-changing or earth-shattering in the amendment. Like I said, if I would have gone back and realized the impact in the beginning, I probably would have just left our original budget as it was, but here we are.
Okay, any questions of Ms. Bush? If not, I'll recognize the audience regarding the budget, amended budget. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn the budget hearing.
So moved.
Second?
Motion and a second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, motion carries.